What's up, everyone? It's your man Sean Zittel holding it down as always here on FightHype.com. And as I'm recording this, we're just about an hour removed from the rematch that was Usyk and Joshua 2 over in Saudi Arabia, where Oleksandr Usyk was able to retain the WBA, WBO, and IBF heavyweight world titles by winning a split decision over Anthony Joshua. And Anthony Joshua, that was much improved tonight in just his first fight with Robert Garcia. Immediately in his stance, you saw him bend his knees better, catch shots better with his high guard, and line up Usyk, have better positioning with Usyk all night, used his lead hand better tonight, and most effectively, most important of all, he had a great body attack tonight. And that was definitely all elements brought in by Robert Garcia, who I think had a really strong showing tonight, as did Joshua, but he wasn't able to quite get the job done. In a lot of ways, this fight reminded me kind of another rematch from about 15 years ago, Jermaine Taylor versus Kelly Pavlik, their rematch, where Taylor, and Joshua, they were able to go back to the gym and make some of the adjustments that everybody who was watching the tape said, make this adjustment, make that adjustment. They did it, and they turned the fight into a 7-5, into a 115-113 fight. But ultimately, the other guy still had their number, and Usyk did. But after 9 rounds, I had Joshua up 5-4, 86-85. He hurt Usyk to the body and with a right uppercut in the 9th round. And then in the 10th round, maybe you could say he got ahead of himself a little bit. He tries to maybe go in for the kill and follow up his big 9th round and his momentum and maybe try to get Usyk out of there. And Usyk walks him into a short right hook, and after that point dominates the 10th. And and Joshua took so much punishment in the 10th that he really didn't have much left in the 11th and 12th. And Usyk kind of swept those last 3 championship rounds to take it from being down 5-4 to winning 7-5. So great championship stuff from Usyk in those championship rounds. I think he had a little bit more superior performance in the first fight because he was willing to step in and sit down on a few more of those left hands. In this fight, he kind of reverted back to the early Usyk, the cruiserweight Usyk, who's touch and go. That millisecond that you add on to the punch when you try to sit on it could be the difference between him getting caught and him getting off 2 or 3 shots and stepping off like he did down the stretch to take those championship rounds. In that 12th round, Joshua, you could see he was tired. He was winging the right hand, and it didn't have the same speed on it that it did earlier in the rounds. And Usyk kept stepping back and 1-2-3, 1-2-3, sometimes missing the 1 and the 2, but he kept landing that right hook on the 3 over and over again to take that 12th and pivotal final round. Usyk is definitely one of the best top 3 pound-for-pound fighters in the world. I do think he's proven himself after what he's done as the undisputed cruiserweight champ and beating Joshua twice. He is a great fighter in today's era. He is a modern day great fighter. But that being said, I still think a good big man beats a good smaller man, and I think that'd be the case with Fury and Usyk. I don't pick Fury with any hesitation. A fight like Crawford-Spence, I pick Crawford, but there's a little hesitation when you think about it. I could see Spence winning that fight, definitely. But, I give the edge to Crawford. In this kind of fight, I don't give an edge to Fury. I pick Fury. Now, I understand if you want to counter that with the fact that Fury said his toughest fight on Joe Rogan was against Steve Cunningham, a cruiserweight. And he said he gave him problems because he was a cruiserweight, coming up to heavyweight, could match the speed, and give him, the boxer, problems being a boxer. Usyk can do all those things that Cunningham can do at such a higher level and take more advantage of it. And then also Otto Wallin, a southpaw like Usyk, gave Fury one of his toughest fights fairly recently in the last couple years. So when you mix that with the fact that Fury has never seemed eager to fight Usyk and has downplayed ever fighting him, I can understand why you could build a case that you think Usyk wins that fight. But at the end of the day, I don't think Usyk can hurt Fury. I think Fury can hurt Usyk. I think he can fight him like a big man when he wants to, because he's learned how to fight like a big man under Sugar Hill and not just a fleet-footed boxer. I think he can match the foot and the hand speed of Usyk, hurt him, and he's a much bigger man. So I just think a good big man beats a good smaller man. And then as for Joshua, he's still a threat in the division. I don't want him to go anywhere. I want him to remain committed to the heavyweight division, keep learning under Robert Garcia, because the heavyweight division needs players, and he's certainly a player with big power in both hands. He's still always going to have stamina issues, and he's a stiff guy. He's not the fastest guy. He's not slow either. He's explosive. But I like to keep him in the division, and you never know. You could get him on the wrong kind of night where he's feeling real mean, and he goes in there with the right mentality and the right game plan, and he could still, you know, potentially be dangerous and knock out anybody in the division. I'd love to see him get back in there with the winner of Joe Joyce and Joe Parker. You know, and I again, an example of what I'm talking about with Joshua. Shane Mosley back in the day lost some fights to Vernon, lost some fights to Winky, loses to Cotto. But he showed up on the right kind of night with the right kind of mean attitude against Antonio Margarito and beat the shit out of him in a great performance. And Joshua, you still want to see him in the heavyweight division. Let's not write him off just yet. And then the other fight, besides the undisputed fight, either one of them, Joshua or Usyk, I'd love to see fight Wilder, as long as Deontay on October 15th against Helenius still looks like Deontay Wilder. As long as he still looks like Deontay Wilder, then I love the tightrope act that Usyk would have to walk with Wilder. I could see that fight being like Luis Ortiz, the southpaw stepping around, hitting Wilder, pelting Wilder, banking rounds, but all Wilder has to do is line up Usyk for one right hand. Usyk got hit by a dozen hard right hands by Joshua tonight, and that he can't afford to be hit by half those amount of right hands by Deontay Wilder, maybe even just one or two of them if placed right. So that would be a beautiful fight of, you know, yeah, Usyk's winning rounds, but at any moment, Wilder can line him up and knock him out. Long as Wilder's right, I'd love to see that. And as long as Wilder, you know, I'd love to see Wilder and Joshua with no belts on the line, whatever. It'd be great to have Joshua come overseas, try to right the wrong he had in his only performance when he lost in Madison Square Garden in America, and try to knock out Wilder. Someone gets knocked out in that fight. It would be great. And just lastly, again, to close on the man of the hour, Oleksandr Usyk is, again, a pound-for-pound great fighter, and he has a great ability to sense when to have to turn it up, when to have to shift to the top gear. He has a great sense of when the other guy is getting momentum and he has to take the play away. And he did that in fight 1, and he did that in fight 2. In the clutch, in the last 3 rounds, he pulled all 3 out, and he did it with the better gas tank. When it was time to turn it up, instead of 2 feints, he did 3 feints and stepped over and touch, and he brought out more energy, more when he needed it most, and that's why he's still the unified heavyweight champion of the world and one of the best in the game. So thank you guys for enjoying the Z cap. You see what we did there, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you guys enjoyed the fight. Keep it locked in right here on FightHype.com.